So let's look at that same, in theory, to-do app. We're not actually building on any app part yet. We're building the login stuff. So we've got the back end with Rails doing Auth with JWTs, tokens. That's JWT tokens, ATM machine. And decrypt off all the stuff in the back end there. And we tested that all our routes and stuff work. We can get our token and everything, send it and log in through Insomnia or Postman, if that's what you like. So let's see what that looks. Yeah, non-bread, chai tea. Let's see what that looks like hooking it up on the front end. So I've got my two repos open. I'm going to move some stuff around because I've got doing research on another, probably one of the other instructors helping them with a project, and they're using stuff I haven't seen before, but looks really cool. So let's get rid of that. Keep that there. It's fine. Let me share my screen here. Cool. Share. Get that here. Just learn the key shortcut for that. But Option Shift H, hide. Cool. So what I've got here is the front end. This is, we haven't touched it at all yet. This is just a straight up standard create React app. I think I did the npm install already. If I do the npm start or yarn start, whichever you like, that should give us a nice spinny React logo. Second now. Buddy, you're literally running on the same machine. There we go. Okay, great. Everything's great there. We have our Rails backend that we had hooked up before with all the things. So I'm going to go ahead and up to everything's all migrated. I think there's a bunch of users in there that are just me. That's fine. Let's open that, show that we are yay on Rails. Started up faster than our front end. Cool. So let's talk about what it's going to look like first on our front end. We have our routes here, right? And this is what our front end is going to be doing, right? This is what it's going to be hitting to interact with the application. So what are some things that we need? We need to be able to create a user. Cool. So we're going to need a form that lets you put in a username and password, and I think we take an email to, and submit that to our create user route here. Once it gets created, I think that sends a token back. So we'll look at handling that a little bit. But once we create it, we also want a ability to log in. So we're going to have a login form that's just username and password. That's going to hit our /login route. And yeah, and then once it logs in, we can have it either redirect or we can just have it go to the profile there. We can go there. So that means that when we hit that authorized route, we need to send a token along with it. I'll show a couple ways to do that. Sweet. So let's get to building a thing. Let's start on the React end here. So I'm just gonna pull out a bunch of stuff before. I should have done this before, but here's my app.js. I'm gonna pull out all this stuff here. Why do I don't care about PHP. Sweet, and there. loop on Rails. Why am I on Rails now? Are they running on, that's 3000? Yeah, 3002. Son of a. Let's run this one on a different port. How about that? Port equals 4000. Sweet. Now this will run on a different port, which is what we need. Cool. So here's our front end. Here's our back end. Front end's on 4000. Back end's on 3000. All right. So I'm going to do this kind of quick and dirty first, and then hopefully won't take the whole time. We can talk about some ways to make it look like it would look in a real app. So let's start with the create a new user thing. Create new user. And I'll put the E on there. So to create a new user, we want to make a form. In fact, I'm not going to do it that dirty. I'm going to take it out here and put in a register form. Decisions. I changed my mind. I am going to do it that way. And let's pull it out afterwards. Sweet. So upshot, I'm going to make a new form here. Form. We're going to have a couple fields here. They're going to be a what are they going to be? They're going to be a username. I'll put these in divs. Don't do what I'm doing now. Divs are fine, but not semantic. Username. We're going to want a text, and we'll do some stuff with that. We're going to want one for email. Same thing. And we're going to want one for password. And we're going to make this type password. And that just, changes it to dots instead of letting us see it there. Doesn't really secure it. It's just surface secure it. And we'll get a submit button. Cool. Sweet. So let's we're going to put state right in here for now. That's a fine place to do it. So let's we need a username, email, and password. So yeah, let's just do new state. Why not? So we can const set username state empty at first. Do the same thing for email. And do the same thing for password. Once you get past 2 or 3 states like this, like if we had one more, probably I would make like a user object state. Why don't I do that right now? Oh, that's a really good question mark. Why don't you do that right now? Let's do it this way first, and we'll refactor in just a moment, because that would make sense. So to fully control this form, we know how to do this, right? We're just going to do a value equals username change, and here we're just going to say so we're going to set username to target. Cool. Yeah, and we can refactor this out a little bit nicer later, but for now let's just do it rule 1 style. We don't really care about how pretty the React is right now. We just want to get it hooked up. We can make it pretty later. Sweet. Format. Cool. So we've got our form that's fully controlled with our username and our email and our password. Button. We need an on submit. So on submit is going to be So let's make a function like that. It's going to take the event, because the first thing we need to do is prevent default like that. And we're going to want to do our fetch. And so our fetch, again, is going to be to our create on the users. So it's going to be a post. And remember that if we look at our user controller, we're going to need a user object. So it's going to require a user object. Heat off, it's too much. It's going to require a user object, and that is going to require or permit a username, password, and email on there. I feel like it should require those, but I'm not going to touch the backend for now. And that's why I was thinking about putting that in an object. We'll refactor later. Cool. So let's go ahead and do our fetch. We just need to do a post where we're sending that and see what we get back. So how long has it been since I wrote a fetch? Let's make a constant for our API caps API equals. API is going to be on 3000, right? That's our Rails server. And so we're going to fetch to API slash slash users and do a post there. So API users, users, yeah, users. So we're going to need to send our here, right? So our first option is going to be need to be the method. Oh, we're going to need to send some headers. I'll pull these out just a minute. And that's going to be accepts. Right. JSON and content type. JSON, great. And we're going to need to send some data along with it. Yep. So I'm going to JSON stringify an object. That object is going to be, oh, man, so dumb. I'll just do it in line here. We're going to need to stringify an object. That object is going to have, like we said here, a user, a user, and that user is going to have the username, email, and password. Username, password, and email, doesn't matter what order. And again, if you're not familiar with the ES6 syntax, this is just shorthand in an object. You have the key and the value and a variable of the same name as the key. Let you do that. Super nice. Cool. Great. I think that's our fetch. So let's get something back out of that. JSON dance. And get our JSON, and we're just going to let's console log it out. So I'm going to get the JSON and console log out that. And let's see what happens. There's our new user in our pretty form. Let me open up the console so I can see what comes back. We've got our Rails running here, so we can see anything that happens here. We're going to do username ABC. We're going to do ABC at XYZ. And password is going to be ABC. Right. Super secure. All right. Is that going to work? Yeah, no, it's not that. Well, it did something. Let's see what it did. Nothing. Okay. Did it reload? No, did it? Yes, it did. Why is it doing that? We're doing prevent default. On submit is submit registration. Time to do some debugging. And let's do here. Cool. So we've got a console log in the submit. We've got it after the default blocker, and see if that goes. See, cool. All right.
You need to pass E into submit registration on your own submit.
It is being passed in because we're just giving it the function itself. So this is the same as doing that. And since we're just passing in the function itself, it's calling that function with the event. You know what? Instead of I'm going to do an alert here. Make sure that I didn't type it wrong. Okay, it's not doing that either. Great. What did I do wrong? Did I spell something wrong? Submit registration. Submit registration. On submit.
What about moving the unsubmit onto the form rather than the button?
Yes. This is why I tell everyone not to mistake, and that's the mistake I make. Good call. Oh man. Cool. I feel a lot better about that. ABC. Cool. I'm 98% confident here. Cool. 404, but we did get a not found. No route matches users. Oh, you know why? Because that's not the route, is it? Because the route is API v1, the thing. Cool. API v1. Sweet. So now it's going to go API v1 users. Okay, 99% now. Let's try that. Cool. All right. And we can see in our Rails console, nothing. Yeah, there we are. Cool. We did it. Created the thing. That's the password digest. Amazing. Cool. So it looks like we have a user, ABC. Made it there. And then here is what we get back. We get our user stuff back, just the email and username, which is great. We already know that. When we come back, we can change to a different page or a different route or whatever. Super cool. And we get this here token back. So if we wanted to automatically log them in when we get it back, we have that token to do that. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going to show us how to do it by hand. Cool. So right now we're not saving the token. This pretend that isn't there. I'll also have it clear out the form when it's done. Get rid of those console logs. I'm just going to clear out the form as soon as we get it. I just want to set those. Yeah, why not? This is the ugliest way to do it, but I'm going to do it anyway. Cool. So that should clear it out when we register. Great. And look at that. We're getting an error because we tried to create the same user. Boo, boo, boo. Our errors work. Alrighty then. Let's do that login. Or let's take a breath for a moment. Any question about how that hookup worked? That feels like stuff you have done a bunch already, but anything?
Yeah, I've got one question. So I'm trying to follow along here, and this just might be a syntax error on my part, but when I do the create, I get an access to fetch from origin has been blocked by CORS policy. No access control allow origin header is present on the requested resource. Would that just be a backend?
Yes, so in the back end, nope, not there. No, thank you. In the back end, we need to do some configuration to make sure CORS is turned on for us,
Right.
or whatever you want to call it. That's going to be in our initializers CORS. We're going to make that should be there already. It's going to be commented. We want to uncomment it and make sure origins is star.
Okay.
And we also need to make sure that we have rec CORS in our gem file, whether it's uncommented or added earlier.
Okay. So if I have both of those things already, I just have some more debugging to do, it looks like.
Yeah. But if it's
okay,
it's that error is 50% of the time it's CORS, and sometimes it's like some other error that's just like, I don't know what to do, it's CORS. So
okay.
Check CORS first. If it is absolutely not CORS first, it's often a routing error that it just kind of like gives up on. But yeah, check the CORS first.
Okay, thanks.
Cool, awesome. Other questions? Right. Let's do that login then. So of course, and brief sidebar, clearly it probably makes sense to keep this in a user object and update that user object when we change it. I'm not going to go back and change that right now. Oh, you know what? These are going to be different forms. That's fine. I'm going to have to add more state for the other forms. We wouldn't do that in a real application, so it's going to look a little bit messy, but it's fine. All the more reason to refactor it out when we're done. Cool. So we're going to make another form for login. No longer TBD. We are doing it. All right. So we're going to do a form. Come on, what's up? The form. We're going to put the on-submit on the form right now. Ligma. Again, there we go. And the form. Looks up here. Default. That great. Cool. And the form is going to look an awful lot like our other form. It's just going to have a username and password. Okay, here's where it's going to get gross for a second. Loop. All right, so we have another set of state for our login form. In reality, we would break these into their own components. Right now, we're just making it work. And you know, I'm just gonna copy paste this form and pull out the stuff we need. Don't do what I do. This is bad. Here we are. So we don't need the email. That. This is login. Submit this on the form. We need to change the login password and set login password. All right, I feel like that's going to do it. Good. There's our thing. Loop. We're good. I'm also going to have it cleared out right here while we're here. Cool. So in here's where our magic is going to happen. And so what do we want to have our login do? We want it to hit our login route. So again, that's just going to be our API route, full thing, /login. It's going to be a post. And we, again, are sending our username and password. Since it's ABC, it should be pretty easy. All the stuff that I'm copying and pasting means that it should be a method somewhere, probably. So I'll make it work first. And then if we have time, I'll do some refactoring. And this is going to log in. It's going to be a post. It's going to have the same headers. And we are just sending the email and password. And it's going to be the username and password. Like it, username. Like. Cool. So unless I copy pasted some garbage, which is entirely possible, I feel like this is going to let us log in. We have username, password, ABC, I think it was, ABC and ABC. Let's see if that works. Unauthorized, invalid. Well, let's just create a new one then. ASDF. Registered, got it, cool. ASDF. Unauthorized, oh no. Okay, so where can this break? We could be sending the wrong thing. No, we could be not fully controlling the form properly. We could be sending the wrong thing. We could be sending it to the wrong place. Or our login could be broken, but it was working last time. So I'd assume it's not broken for now, but we can revisit that. So let's have it log out our. So actually, let's do this. Oh, actually, let's look at our login function first. Make sure we're sending the right thing. This is in the auth controller. It's requiring a user with username and password. Cool. So let's make sure we are sending the right thing. I'm going to create this up here. Login data, call it. I'm going to stringify that. I'm also going to console log this here. So now we can first make sure that we are getting the right thing. So let's do that. So I know we did ASDF and ASDF. Sending user with login. Oh, that's what I'm doing. I'm not sending username and password. I'm sending login username and login password. So let's fix that. If you're taking shortcuts. All right. Let's try that again. All right, logged in. Look at that. And if we look at our console here, we have logged in successfully. Great. Boom, boom, boom. Awesome. Sweet. So our backend does work. Our front end does work. And we can get rid of our console log here. So now we want to be able to hit that profile, right? So if we do /profile, it's not going to work, right? If we just do, even though we just logged in, it's going to just log us back to, need to do, and it's going to be on the Rails app, not on the React app. User's profile. Cool. API v1, how about? Come on, buddy. Sweet. Please log in. We just did log in. What's the problem? The problem is that we are not sending along that authorization token that we are looking for in our application controller. Looks like this. So basically, when we are sending along requests, for a thing, we also need to send a authorization header with that token in it, even if it's just a GET request. So that definitely calls for a helper function. If we are logged in, it's going to just send us back that JSON. So well, let's go ahead and see what we get here. Cool. So we're getting our JSON back with that token, right? So we're getting our JWT there. And this is what we care about saving. There's a couple places you can save it. If you expect the user is never going to leave your page or reload it for any reason, you can just keep it in state if you really want to, and then it goes away when they leave the page. Not ideal, but it'll work. I should probably demonstrate that first, but instead we're going to jump right to storing it in a persistent way. You can store it in a cookie if you like. I like to store, since this is data, I like to store data in local storage. If you haven't used local storage, I recommend doing MDN, local storage, and it gives you all of the, actually that one's probably better. It gives you all the cool stuff, so you can set, local storage is just an object that lives on the window. And so you can treat it just like an object. It's just that the syntax is set item and get item and remove item and clear. But we're going to be using set item, and we'll just call it JWT. So we'll do local storage set item JWT with our token, and then when we want to use it, we just do local storage get item JWT. DN is always your friend. Let's take a look at it. So we don't want to just console log this here. We want to set our local storage. So I'm just going to go ahead and do that here instead of that. When it comes back in, we're going to do local storage, set item. We're going to use JWT for the key, and the value is going to be our JSON key, because that's what we're getting back here. JWT. That's it. That's all you need to do for that. So now when we log in, bloop, we're logged in. How can you tell? Well, we can make a request with that token. But we also want to make sure that we are storing that token somewhere. So if you look at, this doesn't store it here. It doesn't store it here. Where does it store it? Application, storage, local storage. That's what we want. Local storage. Hey, look at that. Here's the key, and here's our value. And again, this is just a regular old JavaScript object, mostly just a regular old JavaScript object. So you can store as much as you want. Oh, I know I prefer local storage. Cookies have a maximum length of more than you'll probably ever use, like 2K or so. Am I lying? Maybe 2 or 4K. Local storage is a lot more. So if you wind up saving, like if you're writing a web game and you're saving application state or something, or like doing an online drawing program and want to save the user's state that way, if anyone is working on a project like that, that's a great way to save that state, serialize it and throw it there. You can JSON stringify it and throw it there. So we are fairly confident that our JWT is stored there. Now we just need to make a request to get it. I think I'm just going to just throw a button on here to do that. Close that up, close that up. HR here, and let's do a button. I'm just going to say get profile. And we're just going to get the data here. You know what? We're not just going to get the data here. Our profile is getting back our username and password. So let's just display it here. In fact, I'm going to be cool about this. More state. Again, this would be in a different component, but Logged in. Oh, yeah, this is why components are good. It's gonna be logged in. So I'm going to put a log out button too. This would be great. What's that button? I'm gonna wrap this button up in a conditional. So I'm gonna say, if we have a username, logged in username, and on the off chance that's the username is 0, if the username is undefined, we're gonna show a button to get the username. Otherwise, let's show the username. We're going to do a div, or I hate it. And we're just going to say logged in. And great. That is all complaining at me because it needs to be one element being returned, not 2. So we'll just wrap it in a fragment. Thing. Great. So if there is a username, we're going to show the username in email. If there's not, we're going to show a button that calls this get profile function. And the get profile function is going to look like this. So this is where we're going to do our get, right? We're going to do a get, so we're going to do a fetch. We're going to do a fetch to our API / profile. And normally that would do it for us, but it doesn't because we can't do it without the header. So we're going to need to send some options again. We're going to have to look at our headers again. And this time I think the only header we're going to need to send, I might be wrong. Yeah, I'm going to grab both of these too. I'm going to grab both of these so I don't have to type them. I don't think I'm going to need that, but just for safety, for starters. And now we're going to do our auth header. So that's going to look again like this. Authorization bearer space our JWT. Just do it in one of these. And so we get our JWT by saying local storage, get item, JWT. Boom. And that will grab it from local storage. Sweet. And I think that's all we're going to need. I'll put a method in here, even though we don't need it. It's a get, just for clarity. And then when we're done, I'm going to parse out our JSON. Boom, boom, boom. And I'm going to have it set the logged in username and password here. So set logged in username is going to be our, I think it sends back user, right? Do we have it send back user? Profile. Yeah, so we're just rendering out the user. So it should be user with a username and password in it. Right, JSON user, and JSON user. Great. I'm going to put a console line there just in case. Sweet. feel pretty good about that. Let's see what happens. Cool. So we have created our user. We have logged in, but our old login did not save our thing. Or did it? It did, because we looked at our local storage. So now I should just be able to hit that get profile button. It's going to do a get. We should be able to see that get happen over here. Let's see. Aha, unexpected token in JSON. I didn't get the right thing. So this is an error that I know everyone has seen at least once. That less than token there. That is the opening bracket of HTML. So if you're getting this error, in case you haven't gotten it and resolved it 1,000 times or 1,000,000 times, that means that you're getting HTML back instead of your JSON, which means that something is wrong. So let's actually just see what our response looks like first. Cool. So I'm going to get rid of this. I'm actually going to get rid of, I'm going to get rid of all of this. Or just don't type it. And then I'm just going to console log our response out. And so if you haven't looked at this already, it is mildly interesting. So this is going to console log out the entire response object, which has a bunch of stuff in it. So this is an HTTP response object. It has all the stuff that we're getting back from it. And it has a body, which is a readable stream that we can't see. Great, cool. But it gives us all the stuff. Oh, look at that. That's why, because I'm trying to hit, did I not do? Yep. When Mark learns how to do template literals right, then it will work. How about that? I feel better about that. Cool. All right, we got a profile. Can't read properties of undefined. So it doesn't have a user object. It's just sending back email and username. Great. JSON username. Like how I console log that out in expectation of getting that error. Cool. And even if we, reload, or I'm just gonna close this page, open up a new one. If I get that profile, we should see. Hey, I got the profile. Didn't do anything. Did I set logged in username? Set logged in email. Logged in username. Logged in username. If logged in username. Well, we got the data back. We just didn't set the thing. Well, our auth works. could use some work on the React side. So in reality, what we do here is probably after login or even after register, we'd set our JWT token and we'd go to another route or display another page that has all that information on it. I'm going to take a look at why it's not doing that. We're getting the data back, right? So that is a thing. So why isn't it showing that? I'm going to take our conditional off. And just do that. Let's see if it fills it in there. Is that right? Is that right? There we go. Oh, just my conditional is off. What was that? Did I do it backwards? Logged in username, not equal undefined. Logged in username, question mark? What did I do wrong? Logged in username is in fact ASDF. Logged in username, question mark. There's the button. That's so weird. Check. Paste. there. Why? What I'm doing something really simple wrong, right? Logged in username, conditional. Oh, because I'm doing it backwards. Let's try that. Hey, there we go. Cool. And if we log in, great. Let's try this one more time. Actually, let's run through the whole flow one more time. Great. Reload, new page. I'm going to add one more button here, actually. I'm lazy. Reset profile. And reset profile, all it's going to do is right here. I'm just going to grab these. Just set them to empty again. Real good at typing. Oop. Great. So now get profile reset should go back. Awesome. Great. So profile is gone. I'm going to close this window. I'm going to open it up in a incognito window. Ooh, I wonder if that'll save. Ooh, I don't know. So cool. Here's our thing. A1S2D3. Who we're here. Password is going to be pass. Great. A1S2D3. That should be the password, not the username. Okay. Register. Gloop worked. Okay. Username. A1S2. What did I do to myself? Pass. Log in. Bloop. And we would put up a, hey, you did a good job. But now we should be able to get the profile. And we can do it. There it is. Everything worked. Reset that. Let's do that all day. Awesome. So this means that we cannot just get the profile. Any other method or controller or anything else that we have in here that is being authorized is going to work that same way. So if we were not logged in, let's not log in. Close that incognito window. Open a new one. Go to the same place. If we do get profile, hey, there's our error that says, please log in. So we're not logged in. We can see that's not just cheating. So this is another thing that we'd catch and handle and everything would be great. So that is how you do registration, login, and get an authorized route from React. What? Yeah, that only took an hour, less than an hour, with a lot of talking. So much talking. What would I do differently here? Each one of these would be its own. Each one of these would this is the cool thing. Each one of these would be its own component, right? So I'd have a login component or a register component that once it logs in or once it registers successfully would go to the login component. Once the login component works successfully, I'd open it up to the profile component. That means each of these would have its own state. App wouldn't need to worry about anything. App, in fact, does not need to worry about anything unless you want to, I guess, because if we have a separate profile component, it's still going to be using the same local storage. So even if we set local storage in the login component, we can read it from our profile or whatever component and send a request with that token, and it's all cool. Cookies work pretty much the same way. That's not an advantage or disadvantage either way. Yeah, and again, you can set your JWT in a cookie if you want to. Anyone who says that token-based auth is more insecure because it uses local storage instead of cookies, don't listen to anything else they say, because that doesn't make any sense. you can store JWTs and cookies all day if you want to. Yeah, so I'd put these in their own components. I don't know about these, but for any get fetch, right? every fetch you're going to get is going to need that authorization token, which means that anytime you do a get, you're going to type this whole thing out. So I would put it in a function that'd be more like function fetch API or whatever, and I would give it the the route. If it takes some data or route method data, right? And then in there, I do my fetch, give it the right route, put the right method in there. All the header is going to be the same. It's going to have the authorization token. And if there's data, it'll put it in the body there. And then you probably want a callback. That would happen in the .then. And then I can never write another function like that ever again. And when I want to do a fetch, I would just call fetch API. One little thing that does that. Super easy. And then since I'm using React, I would probably, in fact, most of the time I do this anyway, even if it's not authorized, make a custom hook for it. So I'd make a new file that is like use fetch or something like that. I would import that, and then I would say like const fetcher equals use fetch, and I'd give it the API. And so that would return a function that it would return this function basically. So I wouldn't have to write this function. It would be custom hook available for me to use whenever I want. Play with that. It's super fun. Once you start writing custom hooks, you'll never stop. You should stop at some point. I still need yeah, and that'd make everything prettier, clearly. And I think that's about it. That's everything you need to know. What's today? Tuesday? Yeah. Friday, Monday, and Tuesday. That's 3 hours of making a backend server that does registration, login, and authorization with JWT tokens and hooking it up to a React front end. If you like this, subscribe for more content and hit that bell to get notified when new videos come out. That's everything there. Never mind. Watch too much YouTube. Questions about any of this? This is all an awful lot, and you're not going to get it until you do it. But anything that's like completely baffling you, or anything else that you want to ask here. Or even baffling you a little bit.
Yes, or would you mind doing like a quick recap of what you're doing today?
What?
Recap?
Which part?
Like all of them? Just like run through like real quick, like, oh, you went through this, like,
Yeah. So we hooked up. Let me get this back here. Did I do this thing? No, I didn't. Great. Fine. Nope. 4,000 is what I want. So I've got my backend that we created already. We created a new React front end. Ideally, these would be separate components on their own pages. For demonstration purposes, they're not. I made a form that lets us create a new user. I made a form that lets us log in. And this button just gets us a protected route. So here's the states for the controlled forms. The forms are here. They're just controlled here. They on submit, they call it submit registration, submit login. And we're going to get our profile and show it. The registration, when we're creating a new user, we're just doing a post to our endpoint that we did over here in our Rubos. There we go. We do a post to this endpoint with the required data, username, email, and password. When we get that back, it's going to be cool. You did it. You're registered. We're not doing any additional messaging because it's just a demo. Our login form does something similar. it hits the endpoint, does a fetch to log in, sends just the email or the username and password. When that works successfully, it's going to get a JWT back, a token back. We're going to store that in local storage so we can use it anytime we want. Of course, we definitely want to have more validation and error checking and messaging when they put in a wrong password or try to register something that already registered and so on. But assuming that all works, we have a token in local storage. Then we want to get a protected route that needs authorization. We are going to make a fetch, whether it's a GET or anything else. We are going to include that token in an authorization header like this. And then those protected routes will work and we can use them just like any other route. And again, I would put those in separate components. I would probably make a custom hook for a protected route getter. But clearly this already works as it is. And you can architect your application however you like. Did that get you what you need?
Looks good. Thank you. Yeah.
Awesome. Cool.
And is that okay for you to put a link on the bottom of the YouTube video?
Yeah, so I will put this code, this repo, both of these repos in the YouTube video. And I think, because I'm not going to be able to help myself, I'll make a branch with these pulled out into components and working more like I would actually make it look, just so you can see a cleaned up version as well.
Looks good. Thank you.
Awesome. Other questions? Cool. Sorry again, this is just a lot of talking. There's just a lot of stuff. Hopefully this is of some use or will be future use to you, or this code will be an inspiration in the future. So hit me if you have any questions. I'll post this video in the usual places, and I will see you shortly. Thanks for hanging out.
Thank you.
Thanks.